And here we go. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor. And it is another beautiful day out here in South Carolina. It's good to look outside. I tell you, every time I start the morning and I sit down at this desk and before this microphone, I look out and I think, my gosh, I am so lucky to live in a country like this and also in a community like this where everything's so beautiful. It's a really great life. Listen, I'm a little bit late in doing this. I have a friend, a really good friend, who just turned 70. And I have known him for a long time. Now Arlie is the type of individual that I think people like in general. Because he's that type of individual who speaks from the heart and speaks the truth. And his wife is the same way, but a little bit stronger. And her words come out a little bit stronger than Arlie's. Arlie is a little bit more diplomatic. His wife, Sherry, not so diplomatic. But I must tell you that during the course of this friendship, we have laughed a lot. And we have also thought a lot about spirituality. And I think maybe because Arlie's getting so old, and he's getting to that age where he knows his time is limited on this earth, maybe. And so he's thinking very spiritually. No, he's always thought very spiritually through his life. And he's always talked about the good side of God and the good side of being a good person. And he's taught his children. All three of his children have grown up very responsibly and also are very good in their life and in their relationships and in raising their grandchild. They've all done a great job. So one thing you can say about Arlie, he's been a good father. He's been a good dad. He's been a good husband to Sherry. And Sherry's been a good wife to him. Even though they still use the word imbecile in their conversations. But in the end, love takes over. And their love of family and love of friends. So I want to wish Arlie a really good happy birthday on his 70th birthday. And he's going to go a long ways to his 100. Now, I'm telling you at the moment, both he and I were old. And we have a hard time remembering a lot of different things. We have a hard time remembering just people that we saw on television 10 minutes ago. We are at that point where if the FBI was listening to our conversation, they'd say, this is worthless. These guys don't even know who they're talking about or what their names of the people they're talking about. But that's what happens. And you remain friends and you cover up. I've had to cover up for Arlie a lot because his memory's gone. No, really, we're both bad. We will sit there and we know who we're talking about, but we don't know their names. We can't remember their names. We are at that age where I don't think any medication's going to help us. We're so far gone. But our friendship isn't gone. And that's one of the best things about getting old. You still remember your friendships. And you still are happy that you have friends like Arlie. So he's been a good friend. Today I'm not going to talk about business. I'm going to talk about friendship. Because I think it's important that as you and I are growing as individuals, we also grow with friends. And let me tell you, friendship is so very important because sometimes you get really good friends that will be frank and honest with you. And that's what you need. Because sometimes you are thinking with emotion and you're not thinking with logic. And up comes a friend and a whole bunch of logic comes out. And that is what is needed. Truthfulness, common sense, logic, that is what is needed from a friend. And I think it's really important that we focus on friendships that we have. Get rid of those friendships that they need you. If they have they're not your friend because they love you, but they're using you because they need you. That's not a friend. Put them at arm's length so that you only see them, and they're not there sitting at your doorstep needing you. And that should be the same thing if you are that kind of individual who only has friends that you need and not that you can help and grow in life with and laugh with and provide each other with comfort and care. That's what friendship is about. I want to tell you a story, and I've told this story so many times, but I'll tell it again because I'm old and I forget what stories I've told. And I'm sure Arlie knows that also. But anyway, one time I was in Hong Kong, and I was staying at a really nice hotel over on the Kowloon side. And I looked in my drawer because I was going to be there for a month. And so I looked in my drawer to put in all of my clothing. And there was a book of Buddha. Now, I'd never seen a book of Buddha, but it was like how we have here, we have the Gideon Bible in a lot of these hotel rooms. Well, they put the book of Buddha. I pulled out the book of Buddha, and half of the book was in Chinese, and the other half was in English. So, just for the fun of it, I took the book, and I closed my eyes, and then I opened up the book, and was going to read whatever passage was there. Well, the passage that I pointed to that day was on friendship. And Buddha has a lot of things that he says on friendship. But this was a whole different thing that stuck in my heart, and I've practiced it every single day. Now, the Bible says a lot about friendship too. But I was experiencing what Buddha had said because it was so great. And I've applied it in my life towards my friendships with so many different people, even to this day. Because I remember it every single day. I don't know. I don't think there's a day that I go by that I don't think about this phrase that Buddha said. Now, this is what he said about friendship. He said that if you are a good friend, you will provide food when your friend is hungry. When your friend is hungry. You will provide him with or her with knowledge. You will provide them with frank words and honesty. You will take care of them no matter what. That you will tell them the truth at all times. And he also friendship with someone who knows everything about your life but still loves you. Not a friend that needs you all the time. So he had all this list of what friendship is really all about. But then at the very end, which was amazing to me, was the phrase, it's very difficult to find a friend that way. It's very difficult to find a friend that's going to give you all of those opportunities. But since you can't find a friend that way, you have to live and be a friend that way. In other words, you're supposed to turn it around and you're supposed to be that person that loves that friend. You're supposed to be there to feed them, to clothe them, to house them if they need it, to provide them with the wisdom that you can give them, who will tell you the truth at all time. You need to be that friend. It's kind of like what the Bible says, do unto others that you would have them do unto you, right? Friendship is such an important part of our life. And yet sometimes we forget about our friends. One day, a long time ago, when I first started doing this podcast, every Sunday I would do a spiritual Sunday. And I told my listeners at that time, go out and have some coffee with a friend. And sit down with a friend and talk with a friend that day. So a listener actually went out and did it. And they came back and they said it was the best experience that they had ever had. Because it was that one-on-one time, away from the family, away from all of the problems of the world, and sat there and listened, sat there and laughed, got caught up, gave a little bit of advice, had a cup of coffee. Best day of their life. So often we forget about friendship. We get so involved in business. We get so involved in our healthcare issues. We get so involved in our various problems that we have in family life. We get so involved in what's happening in politics. I tell you, politics is destroying friendships. There's very few friends that you can sit down and have a common sense discussion on politics. Politics destroys everything. You see, politics has an evil side to it. It is not ethical. It's never moral. Instead, it's all about the needs of that politician and not about anybody else. And so many times, we forget that when people talk about politics, that it becomes an emotional situation and not a friendship situation. Politics has really hurt our nation. We got to get away from that. We got to develop more Buddha friendships. That's what we need to do. We need to be that individual who will be a good friend. You may not be able to find that many good friendships out there, but you can be a good friend. Now, there's going to be times that there are individuals who are going to only be a friend with you because they need something from you. That's not a friend. You put them over into another category. If they want to become a friend, if they see how you are a friend, a true friend, maybe you can let them back in. But a good friend is always going to be there no matter what, and they're always going to love you no matter what. They're always going to give you that advice no matter what. Good friends, companions, and associates are the whole of the spiritual life. God is our friend, and we are a friend of God. And we can also be friends with these human beings that make us laugh, make us cry, and sometimes even offend us. But we still remain friends. So today, think about your friendships. Think about how you can become a better friend. So that ends it. No business today, but focus on your friends. Friendships are a vital part of your spiritual life. Listen, if you want to sit down with me and have a business conversation confidentially, go to my website at www.lodge-co.com and you can book an appointment with me. If you have a business question, send it to me at thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. Everybody go out and have a great day. Call up your friend. Have a cup of coffee. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.